Hello, folks. Welcome to my channel, Rico's Paradigm. Today, I want to talk about the current state of poverty in the Philippines and the history of the Badjaos. Millions of Filipinos live with poverty, which is a complicated and pervasive problem that influences not only their quality of life, but also the day to day operations of both urban and rural communities. Significant obstacles still exist in spite of an expanding economy and an increase in foreign investment, such as income disparity, limited access to high quality healthcare, education, and housing, as well as structural problems with corruption and governance. The Badjao people, also referred to as sea gypsies because of their historical origins as sea nomads from the southern Philippines, represent one distinctive social dynamic within this landscape. Unfortunately, poverty makes individuals vulnerable to exploitation on both sides. While the Badjao people, who are frequently reduced to extreme poverty, have few possibilities to maintain their way of life, expats may be exploited. This vlog will examines the level of poverty in the Philippines and offers helpful tips for expats on how to deal with the Badjao or any other disadvantaged group. One of Southeast Asia's highest rates of poverty is found in the Philippines. Wealth is concentrated among a small percentage of the population, and income inequality is still significant despite the economy's remarkable rise. Greater investment and development have raised living standards and improved employment prospects in urban regions like Manila, Cebu, and Davao. However, because of their inadequate resources and infrastructure, rural communities still face challenges. Many Filipinos from rural areas are forced to migrate to urban areas as a result of this gap. And if they find work at all, they frequently end up in low paying positions with limited social safeguards. Another significant problem is underemployment, as many Filipinos work in low paying or informal jobs that do not adequately support them or their families. Particularly in rural and underprivileged urban regions, access to healthcare and education is still insufficient. Poor infrastructure, a lack of funding, and overcrowded classes plague many public schools. Poor health outcomes and the prevalence of preventable diseases in some communities are caused by the lack of access to healthcare, which many Filipinos cannot afford. Children are less likely to finish their school and, as a result, have less economic chances as adults due to this lack of access to basic services, which feeds the poverty cycle. Large scale slums have emerged in Manila and other major cities as a result of rapid urbanization. Housing has become a major problem due to rural to urban migration, which has resulted in the growth of informal settlements in dangerous regions with poor living conditions. The lack of proper housing, portable water, and basic sanitation in these slums exacerbates social and health problems for the people who live there. As urban development projects progress, slum inhabitants frequently face the danger of forced eviction, lack of rights to the land they occupy, and instability. Despite being vigorously tackled by changes, government corruption nevertheless impedes growth. Corruption diverts funds intended for public initiatives and makes it more difficult to provide services effectively, frequently depriving the most needy of the assistance they require. Citizens become distrustful of the government as a result, which erodes social institutions and reduces public participation in programs meant to reduce poverty. The indigenous Samabagay, also known as the Badjao, are from the southern Philippines. They were traditionally referred to as sea nomads and subsisted on fishing and other marine pursuits. However, a large number of Badjao people moved to urban regions throughout the Philippines, where they now live on the periphery of society as a result of displacement brought on by violence, economic troubles, and the loss of traditional fishing grounds. Their distinctive cultural customs and abilities have not always transferred well to urban life, where they encounter discrimination, poverty, and a lack of job possibilities. The Bajau are frequently seen in metropolitan areas as peddlers, performers, or beggars. Occasionally, they even engage in actions that could be interpreted as hostile or exploitative. They frequently beg for food or money in busy places where both locals and visitors pass by because of their lack of resources and lack of opportunities. Due mostly to cultural differences and the difficult social situations that motivate particular behaviors, interactions between expats and the Baojiao or other marginalized groups can result in miscommunication, conflict, and even exploitation. Adults and children from the Baja community may regularly approach expats to request food, cash, or other help. Solicitation is so common in some places that it can come across as intrusive or overbearing. To obtain assistance, some people may employ emotional strategies or play on a expat's sympathy. The expat may experience feelings of responsibility or guilt as a result of this. Beggars often belong to organized gangs that preyed on the charity and kindness of others. Some Badjao people could be forced to beg by individuals or organizations that take advantage of them. The serious part is gone, so let's move on to talk about a unique cultural experience, the Badjao ambush. The Badjao people, who are nicknamed sea gypsies since they originated in the southern Philippines coastal seas, are renowned for their tenacity. Additionally, they have a remarkable talent for relating to someone who seems a bit more successful, such as an expat taking a leisurely walk. Here are some ways expats can avoid being exploited while navigating the vibrant streets of the Philippines, where Bajau locals might just be lurking around the next corner. Here is a trick you can use when dealing with a Bajau you don't feel like dealing with at the moment. It's called the invisible cloak trick. First of all, blend in with the background if you hear a medley of traditional songs or see a group of Bajau children carrying tambourines approaching you. By invisible, I mean to act as though you're on an extremely important phone call. Wave your hands around, project an air of importance and busyness, or even let out a panic, "Oh no, where's my glasses?" routine. Believe me when I say that nobody wants to bother someone who is truly wearing glasses. Here's another trick. Grab a pre made pocket of loose coins instead of your wallet if the cloak of invisibility fails. These are similar to decoy food for astute salespeople. Throw the coins casually a few meters away, gently, of course, and watch as the Bajau kids chase after them like gulls after a sandwich when they give you their puppy dog eyes. Then get out of there. Here is another. Acting excessively generous is the best way to confuse a persistent Baja solicitor. Even if it may seem paradoxical, say, "I'm so glad I met you," with a big smile and a handshake like a long lost friend. This is generally so stunning that they will back off, perhaps out of concern that you would start requesting a favor in return. I have to listen to your whole life story. Another trick is, if you are with others, designate one person as a tourist. Give them a sun hat, sunglasses, and possibly a fanny pack. Choose a decoy that will attract the most attention because Bajan natives frequently have an amazing capacity to spot the group's wealthiest member. If this person doesn't understand your duty, you'll find yourself in a difficult situation where your decoy is yelling, "Why do they keep talking to me?" Here is another. A well timed Filipino phrase is the best method to turn off uninvited solicitors. For an hilarious twist, commit "May utang hako, I have debts," or "Wala akong pera, I don't have money" to memory. They will probably look at you with increased empathy when you say this in a serious manner, wondering if you are as impoverished as they are. Saying so while patting your empty pockets will make it much more impressive. Another one is act as though you're on a mission to save the world, or at least a nation. If you practice a fast head nod, which is akin to saying, "Yes, I see you," you'll be less likely to approach people who seem to have a purpose. "I do recognize you." The people of Baja will usually let you go because they believe you are either too significant or just too odd to bother. "No, I'm far too busy to stop." Finally, befriending them is a surprising last resort if none of these strategies work. Learn their names, strike up a discussion, and inquire about their families. Since many Baja solicitors are actually kind, they are less likely to target you after they see you as more than just a passing acquaintance. Additionally, you may have a local ally who may warn you of possible ambush zones for the future. Millions of people in the Philippines, particularly underprivileged groups like the Badjao, are still affected by the complex problem of poverty. The path out of poverty is difficult and calls for teamwork, even though there is hope for improvement through community based projects, NGO work, and government reform. Managing relationships with vulnerable groups as an expat calls for tact, difference, and a dedication to moral behavior that promotes sustainable development. Expats may prevent exploitation and create fulfilling, enjoyable experiences in the Philippines by being knowledgeable, lending assistance to respectable groups, and establishing clear limits. All right, folks, that is all for today's show. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a good day.